Hello, my name is Stephen Lee, and I would like to celebrate Asian Pacific American Heritage Month with you by talking about an important case in Asian American legal history, the killing of Vincent Chin, also known as United States versus the Ronald Ebens. This was a homicide case in Michigan in the early 1980s that took several unfortunate turns, but is credited with drawing attention to Asian American civil rights, and which is a useful reminder of how much the law has changed since that time. It was June 1982, and Vincent Chin, a 27-year-old Chinese American, was out with some friends celebrating his upcoming wedding. They ended up at an adult establishment outside of Detroit, which was suffering from a downturn in the auto industry. And they ended up near two other men, Ronald Ebens and his stepson. A fight broke out, apparently based on racial remarks that Ebens made, blaming Chin and his friends for Ebens being out of work. The fight went outside, and Ebens went to his stepson's car to get a baseball bat. Chin ran away, and Ebens and his stepson went into their car and drove around looking for Chin. They found Chin in the parking lot of a nearby supermarket. Ebens' stepson held Chin from behind while Ebens approached with the baseball bat. Chin was able to escape briefly, but Ebens chased after him and struck Chin with the baseball bat in the back and the head. The fight finally ended when two police officers working as security guards at the supermarket came out, pulled their guns, and ordered Ebens to stand down. Unfortunately, it was too late for Chin, who had suffered injuries to the head, shoulder, chest, and neck. He was declared brain dead, and he died a few days after the incident. Ronald Ebens and his stepson were charged for the murder of Vincent Chin, and both accepted responsibility in some part, with Ebens pleading guilty to manslaughter and Ebens' stepson pleading no contest. The case then went for sentencing. Unfortunately, the judge who sentenced Ebens and his stepson viewed the case as simply a barroom brawl that had gone bad, and he sentenced Ebens and his stepson to no jail time, just probation. The sentence sparked massive outcry among Asian Americans, both in Detroit and nationally. There were protest rallies, and there was a lot of TV publicity. The U.S. Department of Justice then got involved in the case. State prosecutors could not redo the case due to double jeopardy principles, but federal prosecutors could and did bring new charges against Ebens and his stepson for violating Vincent Chin's civil rights. The federal charges were going to be difficult to prove. It would not be enough for prosecutors to prove that Ronald Ebens killed Vincent Chin or intended to kill Vincent Chin. Prosecutors would have to prove that Ronald Ebens intended to hurt Vincent Chin because of his race and because he was patronizing a place of public accommodation, namely the adult establishment they were at. The case went to trial, and the jury did convict Ronald Ebens of the civil rights violations while acquitting Ebens' stepson. Ronald Ebens appealed his conviction and his sentence, and the appellate court ultimately overturned the conviction based on multiple errors in the trial. The appellate court found that the trial judge had improperly excluded important evidence that would have shown that government witnesses had coached themselves to make the government's case stronger than it might otherwise have been. The appellate court also found that evidence about a prior racial incident should not have been admitted into evidence, and that the prosecutor made improper remarks in closing arguments. The federal government continued to prosecute the case, seeking a second trial. This time, the judge moved the case from Detroit to Cincinnati due to all of the publicity that surrounded the Vincent Chin killing and what had happened with Ronald Ebens. This time, the jury heard the evidence and found Ronald Ebens not guilty. The sad fact that Ronald Ebens never spent a day in jail for the killing of Vincent Chin was the result of multiple errors in the justice system, state and federal. But I think it's useful to think about how changes in the law since then have made it less likely that such a result would happen today. First, there is much greater appreciation for victims' rights than there was in the 1980s. The federal government and many states, including Michigan, have passed laws giving victims a greater say in how criminal cases unfold, and that would have ensured that Vincent Chin's family had an opportunity to tell their side of the story to the judge, so that the judge would take their side into account in sentencing. Second, there are more federal laws that make it easier for prosecutors to charge people such as Ronald Ebens. In particular, the Matthew Shepard and James Byrd Jr. Hate Crimes Prevention Act of 2009 makes it a crime under federal law to injure someone because of their race, national origin, or religion, among other things. Laws such as this make it easier for the federal government to prosecute hate crimes. Notably, in 2018, the United States Department of Justice announced that it had charged more than 300 people with hate crimes over the preceding 10 years. What happened to Vincent Chin is remembered today as a tragedy compounded by all of the mistakes in the justice system. But I hope you remember how much things have changed since that time, and how that outcome would be less likely to happen today. Thank you for joining me in this look back at this case in Asian American legal history. Thanks for watching.